It's December 2017. Dadhichi here, back again. As some of you know, I was unduly sidetracked last month with a health crisis and some surgery. So I apologise that I wasn't able to provide you the same format that I usually do. But this month I'm back. And for those of you asking, did I know that something like this was going to happen? The answer is yes. I had known for a couple of years, in fact, after being in discussions with my revered teacher. We had anticipated it. To be honest, I had thought this would be more a lung problem rather than a heart problem, although I had some suspicions about that. Fortunately, knowing this, I had flown to Australia specifically for the purpose of having extensive tests. The heart attack beat me to the doctor. But I'm alive, and I'm back again. You know, as they say, only the good die young. But today, and apart from the physical crisis that I had, I want to talk to you about some very interesting astrological dicta, some methodologies that are really not even much used, let alone known of, especially in the West. It has to do with the process of using the body of the astrologer as a mechanism for prognostication. The body of the astrologer, according to some very fine works that I have here, part of my collection, is one work called the Prashna Padavi, speaks of the qualities of the astrologer and how that astrologer can become acutely aware of the biophysical and psychophysical processes and the links therein to the celestial environment and the planetary movements and transits and whatnot. In fact, even the movement of the Earth. So this is done specifically through an understanding of the breath. And there's another wonderful work called Swara Chintanmani, which is the study of the breath, its movement through the different nostrils within the body, and how those changes and the qualities of the breath can be used as a form of prognostication to give accurate assessment of horoscopes and that type of thing. In fact, when the astrologer is acutely aware enough, he can, and I have done so myself, dispense with the use of a horoscope. Now, let me give this to you in a nutshell. The left nostril is called the Ida Nadi, or the lunar nerve. The right nostril is called the Pingala Nadi, or the solar nerve. And these two nerves cross around a central column, a very subtle silk-like thread which is in the center of the spine. This is called the Sushumna Nadi, and many of you who study yoga or who have an interest in the esoteric will know about this very fine nerve and how it pierces each of the 7 chakras all the way from the base of the spine up to the what's called the Brahmarandra, or the 1,000-petaled lotus. It's called the Sahasra, 1,000-petaled lotus. That central nerve is called the Agni, or element of fire. And so this crisscrossing of the intertwining of these two nerves around that central column, you may also be familiar with in the modern symbol of medicine, which is called the caduceus, which is representative of healing, so on and so forth. So Just hang on one moment. Sorry about that. It's when your workers are being a little bit too noisy and you lose your train of thought. Sorry to be absent for a moment. So there's a correlation between the movement of the breath in the left nostril and the right nostril, that left lunar nerve and the solar nerve. And by understanding the movement, and generally it's around every 2 hours, it coincides with the movement of the ascending signs. Every 2 hours or so, the 12 signs of the zodiac in turn rise on the eastern horizon. And this is also linked to the movement of the breath. If you were to take a video of yourself at night when you're asleep, you would see that the body switches over, left side, right side, every couple of hours or so. That's also to regulate the cerebral fluids to create harmony, and that's part of the restfulness of sleep. It's all intertwined with this movement through the nostrils. So here's the reason you would do this. I'm going to give you a quick exercise to try. Monday, Wednesday, Thursday, Friday. These days are ruled by the Moon, Mercury, Jupiter and Venus respectively. These are what are called benefic or fruitful planets. Tuesday, Saturday and Sunday are the malefic planetary days. These are ruled by Mars, Saturn and the Sun on those respective days. If you wake up on a Monday, Wednesday, Thursday or Friday and the breath is moving through your left nostril, that is considered a good omen. And accordingly the day will proceed quite well. If on the other hand the right nostril is operating on those days, then you're in for a bit of a shaky day. There can be some problems, obstructions, and things won't go at all well. Conversely, on the Tuesday, Saturday and Sunday, if you're awake and you notice the breath moving through your right nostril, then this is considered auspicious as well. If on those days the left nostril is functioning, same deal, you're going to have some problems on that day. Now there are some yogic techniques for swapping the breath over through certain manipulation and that type of thing, through laying on different sides. One other alternative, because that's probably a little time consuming, especially if you're running late for work, if it's the wrong nostril for the day, you should actually get out of bed and with the foot that is on the same side as the nostril, you should, the nostril that's operating, you should make contact with the earth with that particular foot. And that is supposed to alleviate some of the problems that you will encounter on the day. Now, I've actually used this system, not just as a means of knowing what sort of day. Very specific answers can be given. Once you become much more aware and in tune with your breath, you know that every couple of hours there are changes that are going to be taking place, and you can adjust yourself accordingly. There was one occasion I remember I walked into the bank and there was a teller there. She was serving me. I just looked at her for a moment, and it's one of those aha moments that you get. And this is a case in point where I just looked at her and said, you know what? I think you're going to have a baby very soon. And it was a fairly bold statement, and she basically leaned in and said, listen, don't tell anyone, they don't know, I just found out I'm pregnant. I said, wow, well that's great news, congratulations. And actually it was one of the benefic days, might have been a Monday, Wednesday, Thursday or Friday. And at that moment, the left nostril was functioning. So as the astrologer, I leaned back in and said, and by the way, it's going to be a girl. And she said, how did you know that? Well, you see, the left nostril is the female, right nostril is the male. Ida Pingala. Anyhow, I went back, I was travelling in and out of the country at the time, went back a few months later, and lo and behold, I was informed by her co-workers that she had indeed had a beautiful little girl. So that's an example of how, once you get in tune yourself, this is as much for you to get in tune with your own psychic abilities as, and just giving you little trade secrets here of how I work. It's a little more complicated than that. I mean, the breath obviously switches. There are also elemental changes that take place. There's a certain quality to the breath, the depth of the breath, the texture of it, even the sound of it. In fact, my first initiator used to tell me the natural sound of your breath, if you listen to it, comes in and goes out 21,600 times a day, is a wonderful spiritual exercise. That is why they use the breath as a means of calming the mind, because the source of the breath, which is apparently 12 finger lengths, here within the heart, or what's called Hridayam, is the same source or locality as thought. So rather than trying to control your thinking, it's a far superior and easier exercise to bring your attention to the breath and monitor and control the breath. Breath controlled, thought controlled. Thought controlled, breath controlled. When the breath is nice and easy, then the thinking is clear and calm and deliberate. So try this exercise Monday, Wednesday, Thursday, Friday, left nostril. Tuesday, Saturday, Sunday, right nostril. See what happens. Study your day. You've got to observe the events of your life to see how you can get a better handle on that. And that really is what astrology is all about. And you know what? This year, I guess, like every other year, I should say Merry Christmas. I got a little bit carried away with that. And it's really great to be back on board. Right now, I'm going to begin the 12 individual star signs. This month, I'm going to do it. You're not going to get all lumped in together. And I'll be resuming the old format, which everyone seems to be loving, which is the horoscope wheel, the animated wheel, where we can see the aspects happening, and I can, in quick fashion, over 5 or 6 minutes, tell you what I think is going to be happening throughout the last month of this year. Take care. Thanks for joining me. Talk to you soon. Bye-bye now.